In an unprecedented confluence of global crises and shifting alliances, the U.S. and U.K. have drawn fierce criticism for their sanctions on China over the COVID-19 pandemic, with intelligence agencies purporting to have high likelihood evidence of a lab leak. The West is positioning itself as a moral arbiter, while simultaneously entangling itself in geopolitical power plays that risk unraveling international cooperation. Critics argue that the sanctions are a cynical maneuver to deflect attention from their own failures in managing the pandemic while strangling global supply chains and alienating a crucial partner in the world economy. In this charged atmosphere, where accusations of misinformation, corruption, are these measures truly about holding China accountable, or are they thinly veiled attempts to undermine an ascendant rival? Stay with us till the end as we dissect this intricate web of power, politics, and pandemic response. Hello and welcome back to Innovative Check YouTube channel, where we delve into the innovative and transformative projects changing our world. If you're new to the channel and enjoy learning about innovation stories around the world, you've come to the right place. Please subscribe, like, and comment to help boost our videos on YouTube. The COVID-19 pandemic intensified geopolitical tensions between major powers, particularly the U.S. and U.K., who wielded shared intelligence to push the lab leak theory. The discussions surrounding the origins of the virus were fueled by suspicions that it leaked from a Chinese lab, with former Secretary of State Mike Pompeo providing the U.K. with classified information that seemingly pointed to this conclusion. The Five Eyes Alliance, a powerful intelligence coalition comprising the U.S., U.K., Australia, New Zealand, and Canada, reportedly met early in 2021, evaluating the possibility of a lab origin based on State Department reports. These reports indicated that Chinese military personnel had collaborated with the Wuhan Institute of Virology, IW, 4 years before the outbreak, and that staff at the lab were allegedly afflicted with COVID-19-like symptoms shortly before the pandemic spread. Just a quick reminder to hit the like button below. YouTube has been restricting my videos a lot recently because of bots, so your like does help out this video massively in terms of the algorithm in YouTube. Critics argue that the UK Foreign Secretary Dominic Raab and the government at large hesitated to pursue this lead due to pressure from scientists who favored the theory that the virus naturally transferred from animals to humans. However, Pompeo and several former Trump administration officials found the evidence compelling. They expressed their belief that the Chinese government was concealing crucial data while also pointing to corruption and incompetence within the country's handling of the pandemic. This notion garnered strong pushback from China, which has consistently denied any wrongdoing while criticizing Western nations for pointing fingers without concrete evidence, as the U.S. House Select Subcommittee on the Coronavirus Pandemic sought a criminal probe into the virus's origins. Allegations against EcoHealth Alliance President Dr. Peter Daszak emerged, accused of facilitating dangerous gain-of-function research at the WID through taxpayer-funded grants from the National Institutes of Health. EcoHealth became a focal point in the investigation. This U.S.-based non-governmental organization dedicated to pandemic research disputes the accusations. Nevertheless, reports revealed that funding had flowed from EcoHealth to Chinese entities involved in coronavirus research. In this complex geopolitical environment, the U.S. and U.K. enacted sanctions against China, amplifying an already tense diplomatic situation. China condemned these measures as politically motivated attempts to undermine its growth and spread disinformation. Critics of the U.S. and U.K. position argue that sanctions will do little to address the pandemic's roots and instead harm global cooperation on crucial public health issues. If you are enjoying this video so far, please don't forget to subscribe, share the video, and comment. These sanctions imposed by the U.S. and U.K. were seen as attempts to pressure China into more transparency and compliance regarding pandemic investigations. However, the broader consequences of these actions rippled beyond the immediate geopolitical environment, impacting international economic relations. Critics highlighted that economic penalties would not incentivize China to cooperate, but rather increase tensions and potentially hinder crucial global supply chains. This tension affected industries reliant on Chinese manufacturing, such as electronics and pharmaceuticals. With complex supply chains and specialized production hubs, many U.S. and U.K. companies faced disruptions that rippled down to consumers. Sanctions also triggered countermeasures from Beijing, which impacted industries from agriculture to technology. China's sanctions on foreign goods and services could complicate matters for Western companies heavily dependent on Chinese markets, forcing them to reevaluate their international strategies. Another significant impact was felt in the semiconductor industry. As one of the world's largest markets for electronics, China's domestic demand for semiconductors was deeply intertwined with global manufacturers. Sanctions meant to protect national security interests created concerns over the availability of critical components from companies like TSN and ASML that supply cutting-edge technology for many sectors. The semiconductor shortage underscored the fragility of global supply chains and highlighted the interconnected nature of the industry. Efforts to contain China's technological advancements were met with resistance, as China sought alternative sources and developed its own semiconductor infrastructure. The fallout also extended to diplomatic channels. Chinese officials expressed indignation over what they perceived as a concerted effort by the West to stifle their progress and tarnish their reputation. They asserted that global collaboration was essential for managing pandemics and criticized the U.S. and U.K. for creating division when unity was needed. Moreover, officials dismissed the Five Eyes intelligence assessments as speculative and politically motivated. The broader context surrounding the lab leak theory had already divided international institutions. The World Health Organization faced scrutiny over its response and apparent deference to Chinese authorities, while efforts to independently investigate the origins of COVID-19 remained contentious. Accusations of misinformation and disinformation flew back and forth between global powers, undermining public trust and cooperation at a time when transparency was crucial. The political landscape was further inflamed by the clash over the lab leak theory. For some, it became emblematic of larger concerns regarding global governance, transparency, and the sway of scientific communities over policymaking. Supporters of the sanctions argued that pressure was needed to compel China to cooperate with an unbiased investigation into the pandemic's origins. They viewed it as a means to ensure accountability and deter future missteps. On the other hand, detractors criticized the U.S. and U.K. approach as counterproductive and said it lacked concrete evidence. They suggested that the imposition of economic penalties might erode diplomatic efforts, making international cooperation on pressing global issues even more difficult. U.S. officials, such as Dr. Anthony Fauci, continue to advocate for thorough investigations while emphasizing that multiple scenarios remain plausible. The Biden administration maintained its stance that China had a responsibility to provide data, while Chinese representatives pushed back, asserting that the virus could have originated outside China and pointing to early cases in other countries. Mike Pompeo, despite no longer holding office, remained vocal, reaffirming his position that evidence overwhelmingly suggested a lab leak. The discussion extended beyond politics and into scientific communities, where experts debated the plausibility of the different theories and expressed frustration over the lack of clear data. Meanwhile, the economic ramifications of these diplomatic tensions became increasingly evident. Supply chain disruptions impacted various industries, from raw materials to finished goods, and countries began looking for ways to insulate themselves from these geopolitical risks. The U.S. pushed forward with plans to increase domestic manufacturing capacity, particularly in semiconductors. TSMC and ASML played crucial roles in these efforts, helping to establish new production lines and diversify global supply. However, experts warned that these shifts would take time and that immediate relief was unlikely. In Europe, leaders walked a diplomatic tightrope, balancing their economic interests with political alignments. The EI pursued a more cautious approach, calling for cooperation and accountability but resisting sweeping sanctions. They hoped to maintain access to the lucrative Chinese market while avoiding being drawn into an escalating U.S.-China rivalry. Nonetheless, European nations also faced pressure to clarify their positions and support international investigations. China, meanwhile, worked to solidify its regional influence through initiatives like the Belt and Road and cultivated new economic relationships to counterbalance Western pressures. State media emphasized China's successes in managing the pandemic while criticizing what they framed as Western hypocrisy and imperialism. As the global community continued to reel from the pandemic's impact, this geopolitical chess match seemed far from resolution, and nations grappled with how best to position themselves amid this uncertainty. Thank you for your attention, and I welcome your thoughts and questions on this complex and vital subject. Do you want to watch more videos like this one? If yes, please like and share the video, and subscribe to get exclusive videos about how phenomenally China is developing and growing its influence. Your subscriptions and likes motivate us to generate more content, so please keep supporting us. Check out this video showing on your screen right now, and I will see you on the other side.